Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really important and often misunderstood topic: mental health on a global scale. We're going to look at which countries report the highest rates of depression. But before we start, I want to make something crystal clear. This isn't about pointing fingers or labeling any country as sad. It's about understanding global health patterns, raising awareness, and encouraging a more open conversation about mental well-being everywhere. The numbers we'll be discussing are just one part of a much bigger, more complex picture. So, let's approach this with empathy and a desire to learn. First, let's talk about the data itself. When you see a list of countries with high depression rates, what are you actually looking at? These statistics usually come from large-scale studies and health surveys, where people are asked about their mental health, or from national health records. But here's the crucial part. A country's reported rate of depression is massively influenced by two things: cultural attitudes towards mental health and the accessibility of its healthcare system. Think about it. In a country where there's a strong stigma against talking about mental struggles, people are far less likely to report their feelings to a doctor or in a survey. They might fear judgment from their family, friends, or community. Conversely, in a society where mental health is openly discussed and support is readily available, more people will feel comfortable seeking help and getting a diagnosis. This means the numbers get counted. So, a higher reported rate doesn't necessarily mean people in that country are inherently more depressed. It can actually be a positive sign that people are getting the help they need, and that the healthcare system is effectively identifying cases. It's a paradox, right? High numbers could mean a better system, not a worse situation. We have to keep this context in mind as we go through the list. It's why some lower-income countries, where mental health care might be scarce or stigmatized, might have underreported cases and not appear on lists like this, even if the need is great. All right, with that important context set, let's look at the data. Based on recent studies measuring the percentage of the population with depressive disorders, we see some interesting patterns. Coming in at number 10 is Lithuania. This Baltic nation has a reported depression rate of about 5.42%. Lithuania has gone through significant social and economic transformations over the past few decades. While it has a developed economy, factors like rapid societal change and a famously reserved culture could play a role. It's also a country with long, dark winters, and seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is a real factor for many people in northern latitudes. Next, at number 9, we have Iran, with a rate of approximately 5.48%. Research in Iran has highlighted that various social and economic pressures can contribute to mental health challenges. It's a country with a young population facing unique societal dynamics. The willingness to study and report these figures is a step forward in acknowledging and addressing the mental health needs of its citizens. At number 8 is Morocco, with a rate of about 5.49%. Morocco, like its neighbor Tunisia, is another North African nation where increased awareness and research are bringing mental health issues to the forefront. Studies there often point to socioeconomic factors, and the differing pressures on urban versus rural populations as significant contributors. Just ahead, at number 7, is Bahrain, with a reported rate of 5.52%. As a rapidly modernizing Gulf state, life in Bahrain has changed dramatically. The fast-paced, high-pressure lifestyle associated with urban economic hubs can be a significant source of stress, which is a known trigger for depressive disorders. Now, we have a tie for the 5th and 6th spots. Both Tunisia and Palestine report a depression rate of around 5.75%. In Tunisia, there has been a growing movement to destigmatize mental health since the Arab Spring, leading to more open reporting and research. For Palestine, the context is inseparable from the prolonged political conflict, instability, and daily stressors that the population endures. The psychological toll of living in such an environment is immense, and it's frankly remarkable that the rate isn't even higher, which again might point to reporting challenges. Moving into the top 4, we find Portugal at number 4, with a rate of 5.98%. Portugal has one of the highest rates in Europe. Researchers have pointed to factors like an aging population, economic difficulties in the past, and a certain cultural disposition sometimes described as saudade, a deep, melancholic longing. However, it also has a public healthcare system that is increasingly focused on integrating mental health services, leading to better diagnosis. In the number 3 spot is another European country, Spain, with a rate of about 6.04%. Spain, much like its neighbor Portugal, has a culture that is very open and social, but it has also faced significant economic challenges. The Spanish healthcare system is robust, which, again, means better detection. There's a growing conversation in Spain about the mental well-being of its young people in particular. At number 2, we have Greece, with a reported rate of 6.52%. For over a decade, Greece has weathered a severe economic crisis that has had a profound and documented impact on the mental health of its population. Widespread unemployment and austerity measures created immense stress and uncertainty. The high rate of depression reflects this societal trauma, but it also reflects a healthcare system that is actively tracking the mental health consequences of these events. And the country with the highest reported rate of depressive disorders, according to this data, is Greenland, at 6.61%. This might surprise many people. Life in Greenland involves unique and extreme challenges. There are factors like extreme isolation, with small communities scattered across a vast and harsh landscape. The polar night, with months of darkness, can severely impact mental health, leading to high rates of seasonal affective disorder. Furthermore, the indigenous population has faced rapid and sometimes difficult cultural shifts. These combined pressures contribute to this high reported rate. Now, you might have noticed some countries you expected to see aren't on this specific top 10 list, like the United States, the UK, or Australia. These countries are also frequently cited in studies as having high rates of mental disorders. For example, some data places the US with a depression rate close to or even higher than some on this list, depending on the study you consult. This just goes to show how different methodologies and survey years can produce slightly different results. The key takeaway is that depression is a major global issue, affecting developed and developing nations alike. So, what do we do with this information? The most important thing is to fight the stigma. Whether you live in a country on this list or not, the simple act of talking openly and kindly about mental health can make a huge difference. It lets people know they aren't alone, and that it's okay to not be okay. It's about creating a culture where asking for help is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness. Second, we need to advocate for better, more accessible mental health care for everyone, everywhere. This includes everything from therapy and counseling to medication, but also community support programs and school-based mental health education. A healthy society is one that cares for the minds of its people, not just their bodies. And if you are watching this and struggling with your own feelings of sadness, hopelessness, or anxiety, please know that there is help available. You are not a statistic. You are a person who deserves support and care. Talk to a friend or family member you trust. Reach out to a doctor. There are crisis hotlines and mental health resources available in nearly every country, and we'll put some links in the description below. Taking that first step can be the hardest part, but it's the first step toward feeling better. This is a complex issue with no easy answers, but understanding the global picture is a vital part of the conversation. I hope this discussion has been insightful and, more importantly, helpful. Thank you so much for joining me today for this important topic. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the world around us. Stay safe, be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you in the next video.